What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are on the test server here, and we will be playtesting one of the brand new champions, Klaazag, part of the Ogryn tribes. They really needed a really strong Ogryn tribe edition, and they definitely got it here with this new champion, Klaazag. He looks amazing. I love the kind of artistic work on him. I love the little details, the arm. Got little symbols on his arm. I love this big key here. He's got a bunch of keys all around. Got a lock and all that. I don't know. I think he looks amazing. He looks really nasty, really mean, but he looks, yeah, he looks ready for business. So what is this guy all about? He's a defense-based damage dealing champion, or at least he's set up to be one. He's got accuracy, resistance, boosted crit damage, almost 1600 defense and 100 base speed. A little bit low on the base speed, but it seems like most of the Ogryns are kind of a slow, to be honest. But anyways, let's check out his kit here. He's got an A1, transfer all debuffs from this champion to the target before attacking. Also has a 100% chance of placing True Fear for one turn. This debuff cannot be resisted by bosses. Obviously, this is going to be very, very good against the bosses that can be feared. Mainly the Ram form in the Chimera, but this is a perfect A1 for that. The A2 here, also incredibly powerful. Never really see this kind of ability in terms of overall value, but it basically rivals Lydia's defense break and weaken on the 3-turn cooldown as well. In this case, Klaazag places 4 debuffs on a double hit AoE. He uses Void Affinity as well, so the chance for weak hit is not there. On a 3-turn cooldown, decrease defense, weaken, decrease accuracy, and decrease resistance. Now, decreased resistance is very, very powerful because you can use that to complete some of the trials for Chimera as well. Not many champions have decreased resistance. And of course, these debuffs cannot be resisted by bosses, which is the big draw for him as well. So his A1 fear cannot be resisted by bosses, and his A2 4 debuffs cannot be resisted by bosses. So far, no accuracy needed for him if you use him against bosses. Lastly, his A3, huge value ability here as well. 4-turn cooldown, places counterattack buffs on all allies for 2 turns, and an unkillable buff on all allies for 1 turn. Also places a taunt on this champion for 2 turns. If a boss is present in the current round, these buffs are protected. Now, never has there been a team-wide counterattack buff that is actually protected. This is actually very, very huge because one of the biggest knocks against team-wide counterattack is that counterattack can be stolen by like the head of mischief when you're fighting the Hydra and then spread through all the Hydras, and then you're basically in for a bad time. But protected counterattack makes it way more viable and should be a pretty good source of extra damage. Also, we cannot discount how strong this ability is for something like Clan Boss. If you need him for some extra damage there as well, the counterattack will be amazing. Lastly, his passive. Whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, deals damage equal to 1% of their max HP for each debuff they are currently under. So if they're under basically 10 debuffs, and I guess when you're trying to apply more debuffs, they take 10% damage. I'm not too sure how that works. Or maybe on the 10th debuff, maybe you can stack up to 10%. I'm not entirely sure how this works, but it's basically kind of passive damage that he can apply. And with his AoE debuff spread here, it's going to be, yeah, pretty big damage boost, like just passively from his passive. Defense in all battles, 33%, pretty solid. Not the best in the game, but still above average. They use Void Lego. Let's see what we got for him for a build, and we'll test him out in some content and see where he shines. All right, guys. So this is my Klaazag. I haven't built out in arena kind of build here with Stone Skin and Lethal. This is some of the best defense-based gear I have on my account. Yeah, 7k defense. We got no blessing on him, 280 speed, no accuracy because we're not going to be focusing on his debuffs, just focusing more on his damage, 320 crit damage. No relic. We are going to book him out. He's going to get massive value from books, so let's book him out here. What is his book cost? 11 books. So you got 11 books. I don't think you can avoid any of the books here because you got cooldowns and then you got debuff chances. So you want all of them. So instantly give him 11 books. And yeah, let's jump back into this. So masteries here, we got him down to Helm Smasher, pretty generic masteries. I did take some support masteries just to get some extra value from debuffs, and I think lasting gifts for the just extra duration on the counterattack. And I think these masteries generally will be good in basically any kind of setting, so boss setting or wave setting or just damage versus arena. But yeah, we'll take him out into the let's take him out for a quick damage spin and then see how well he does, and then we'll see if he's actually viable as a defense-based nuker. All right, here we go. So we got increased defense here, and then we have decreased defense, and we can let's see if Klaazag can actually hit, because I'm kind of skeptical if he can actually hit. He might be one of those champions that is a nuker, but it's not really a nuker. So let's see. In this case, we got increased defense. We got the decrease, and then we got decreased defense and weaken, excuse me. Fully booked up, and yeah, he's built for damage. So let's see what he can do. 33 and I'm not too sure, 80 or something. But yeah, we weren't able to wipe them out. They do have decreased defense and weaken on most of them. This Venus only had weaken to start. But yeah, I'm not seeing massive numbers there. So definitely not a insane damage dealer or anything like that. Let's see what he can do with his A1. Just want to double check here. 100? Was that 100-ish? I do see some extra damage numbers coming off. So obviously, like, we do have Hex applied to some of these champions as well. Let's try again and see where his A1. Let's see his A1 again. Pull it down. There's a hit. 100k hit, and then a little bit of extra damage coming to the other champions as well. That's from the Hex. So far, not too crazy in terms of overall damage, especially his AoE. So definitely his AoE is not strong enough to be a defense-based nuker, for example. It can't be your main defense-based nuking champion. In this case, let's take him in for a damage spin against basically just a generic arena team, and then we'll see how well he does. Based on the damage test we did on the dragon, we definitely don't have enough damage from him to be a viable arena nuker. So let's see how it works in practice here. Let's go for the big shields, I guess. And we got the AoE decreased defense. This is basically his big hit, right? So let's see how hard it hits. Obviously, there's stone skin on and all that stuff, but this is just like a real world situation. And we're doing 40k, 28k. So 40k and 28k versus the Sifi. I mean, he has increased defense on too. So yeah, he's not. If we can't kill the CP with a direct hit, is probably not good enough to be your defense-based nuker in this situation. So, but honestly, I wasn't really thinking that he would be a particularly strong damage dealer. Obviously, with his debuffs, I think his value is going to be in Hydra and Chimera. So these two spots for him, obviously, Clan Boss is going to be an incredible champion as well. But I think they're going to require a completely different build. So we're going to rebuild him here for the boss content. And then, yeah, we'll take him in there and see how well he does. All right, guys. So I fully rebuilt my Keyhulk here. And I think for him, a 9-piece Pharaoh set makes a lot of sense. So if you got 9 pieces of Pharaoh gear, yeah, throwing him on Keyhulk, you're going to be getting an extra 20% damage boost from his 5 debuffs here. And if you're fortunate enough to land the Fear, you basically have 5 debuffs. So that's 25% extra damage for your whole team. Yeah, that's going to be pretty insane. You could also go for, I guess, protection set, but you're not going to get as much benefit. So Pharaoh set for sure is probably going to be the best on him. And against bosses, he's relatively easy to build, right? You don't need accuracy. You just wanted him fast. I did add him with a little bit of crit damage. So a little bit of damage for him, but obviously he doesn't have ignore defense. So he's not going to be doing tons of damage. He's got 6k defense, which is fair. He doesn't really have like a defense scaling ability. Obviously his skills scale off of defense, but yeah, the higher defense is not going to be too crazy for him. You just mainly want him to be fast. And then we're going to actually keep the same masteries. These masteries are basically going to work out regardless, I think. I mean, you could take War Master, but I think these masteries are totally fine. The support tree gets quite a bit of value because he lands debuffs and buffs. Taking the Rapid Response and Arcane Celerity is pretty nice. Cycle Magic is good, and then Lasting Gifts, of course, and then Master Hexer. Lots of value here for Master Hexer. I think it's the must take for this guy. So we'll take him in to Hydra first and see how well he does there. All right, guys. So we're going to be running him in this pretty fun team here I got. So we're going to run Lamassu for decreased speed, block buffs, and then obviously extra damage with the Terminator boost and reset. Alva's here for the revive, block debuffs, increase speed, and then Marius here is for damage. We have Leonardo here for damage as well, and then we have Klaazag here providing decreased defense, weaken, decreased accuracy, decreased resistance. Actually pretty good. And then he's also here for some additional protection with the unkillable buff, counterattack, which is really nice. And then Mikage's here just to basically pump everybody up. So let's go and check out some actual gameplay with him using some of his abilities. And we'll see where it goes. So right now we got him in a 9-piece feral set. Team looks pretty fun. However, it's not a perfect team or anything like that. It's not covering everything that you need to. Mainly the head of torment, so the fear head's not going to get covered properly. And we actually don't have a great way to cover the provoke requirement here. So anyways, Klaazag here with the decreased defense and weaken. Let's see it happen. Boom, boom. Oh man, it's actually so nice. It's actually so nice. Landing all those debuffs, and of course his Pharaoh boost is there. We don't have increased defense right now, so we're going to add it with the counterattack from Leo. So let's get it on. And then we got Marius here launching the giant nukes. Marius just pretty busted here with all that stuff. But then we do have Mikage here with Leo. Leo's coming in with the big slices, 200k. Let's get... what do we want here? We want probably Marius again with the big slams. And here we can do counterattack with the unkillable, super nice from Klaazag. Resisted. Decrease accuracy on these guys is pretty huge. So now I'm starting to resist some of their attacks, which is pretty massive. Marius comes in with the big attack, and then Leonardo with all the buffs in the world comes in with the massive slam. Super nice there. Increase speed on everybody. And Klaazag. Let's see Klaazag's passive in action, actually. Let's see his passive in action. We're going to get a chance to launch some debuffs. Let's see. Leo's coming in. Slice, slice. All right. Slice again. Okay, we're going to put down some decreased attack. Okay, Klaazag's turn. So his passive, whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, deals damage equal to 1% of their max HP for each debuff they are currently under. Okay, so they are currently under. It's kind of weird because let's say they're under 10 debuffs. Klaazag can't place any debuffs. So how do you do damage to them if you can't place debuffs to them? Kind of weird. I don't know. Does that make sense? That's kind of weird. Okay, so anyways, for example, we have a couple heads here with 4 debuffs. Let's see how this works. All right. So you guys see that? 690 something thousand, and then you see an additional, like, you see an additional 70,000 tick. So I guess the thing with Klaazag is that after his first hit, he's applying debuffs, and then the second hit will apply more debuffs and then do more damage from his passive, which is actually really cool. Yeah, that's really strong to see. He's just kind of passively helping out and doing damage. Obviously he is, you know, in a feral set as well, so he's helping out with damage there as well. But yeah, we're doing quite a bit of damage here. Now we're going to run into a little bit of trouble because of the hit of torment, and things are going to slow down a little bit for us because of the ways Hydra's made nowadays. It's just kind of dumb. Forces you to, you know, go into this all-out damage mode, and then once you're out of it, you're just waiting, which is really bad. So not the best situation here, but Marius doing massive amounts of damage, especially against these high damage, high health, higher difficulty bosses. And yeah, no surprise here. The head of torment giving us a little bit of issues. Hopefully we can take care of him quickly. Everybody's feared now. Everybody's feared. Can we get the cleanse? Nope. No cleanse. Nope. Can we get the cleanse? There we go. Cleanse off. Hit. And decrease defense and all that good stuff. Boom. Nice. There we go. I love it, man. When you're running a champion, they land 4 debuffs on 1 ability. Super nice. Resistance. The decreased accuracy, I'm going to tell you guys, is so nice. Especially when you start having some really, really good gear. And then your base resistance just kind of goes up without you really doing too much. Oh, that's a big slice. There we go. Big slice. I mean, sorry, your base resistance becomes useful just from your gear and all your great hauls and stuff, especially when you're up against decrease accuracy here. So nice to see. There we go, taking them down. Good damage from his team so far. Let's see. Yep, and we're resisting. That's really nice. And decrease. Yep. Boom, boom. I mean, he hits harder than just generic. That was a 10 million damage AoE from Leo. But he hits harder than just a generic support champion, which is really good. So at least he can pitch in some additional damage there, especially with his AoE. Okay, so now we're gonna run into issues with the provoke head now. So it's gonna be a little bit troublesome as well. Would be nice for us to kill this guy off right away. Okay. Yeah, pretty good damage. And yeah, the enemies are not getting a lot of turns in. And this team seems pretty fun. It's just probably not super consistent because of the lack of counters for the Torment and the Provoke Head. Like the Provoke Head's gonna get the cleanse off here, which is a little annoying. There you go. We're not gonna use the Leo Slice yet. But this team deals so much damage that we can still work through those bad setups, but okay, we can try this. Decrease defense, weaken. Here we go. Look at this. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 debuffs on this head. $2 million hit from Leo. And pairs up with Mikage. Super nice. All right. So, I mean, I think we've seen what he can do. I mean, we're basically using him as a support champion right now. But, he can pitch in a little bit of damage, which is really nice and welcome from a support champion. So, really good to see here. And his passive, his passive can do a little bit of damage as well. We'll take a look at his final damage numbers here. We just ran up, 100 million damage on the team, like pretty quick. I mean, it should be on pace for quite a strong final total. Maybe even a billion damage with this setup might be doable. I'm not sure. Probably require manual play, I would imagine, but slice. And the slice is like 5 million. 2 decapped heads though, but about 5 million hit. Crazy. Counterattacks, and the counterattacks popping off, just kind of passive damage here. And then boom, decrease defense, weaken. A hex set on him could work as well. Just gives him more debuffs to help land. I just realized we actually don't have hex on this team, which is crazy because that's a lot of damage that we're giving up. So yeah, that's something that should be easily added, but just something I forgot, I guess. But yeah, definitely something that you can add. So anyways, let's stop this run. Let's check out some of the damage numbers here. We'll do some quick battles. 116. Score breakdown here. Let's see. We got Lamassu pitching in what, 1 million, a little bit over 1 million damage. We got Elva here pitching in basically no damage. Marius doing 58 million. Leo 42 million. That's with the help of Lady Mikage, by the way. And then we have Klaazag actually doing 12 million damage. He's doing 12 million damage with Helm Smasher. Yeah, and without Ignore Defense in his kit, really. He's only got a Helm Smasher. But yeah, he's doing quite a bit of damage here for 12 million, so not too bad, just as a secondary damage dealer, but more so as a support champion build. We'll do a free regroup here. I think I'm going to add a hex set, and then we'll do some quick battles and see how well this team actually performs. All right, so I swapped Lamassu into a hex set. That's obviously not ideal because she only has an A1 for an AoE attack. But you know what? That's better than nothing. So we're going to see if that helps. It's going to bring up her damage numbers quite a bit. Let's run the quick battles here and see how well we do. I didn't do any presets or anything. Just kind of threw the champions in together and did kind of cool team that I thought would be interesting to see. Obviously, Leo can be replaced with like Ninja and stuff like that just for damage with Mikage or Ayasu if you have them instead. 600 million damage on Nightmare on full auto. I mean, it's not too bad. Leo and Marius basically doing similar damage here. 260 million, 235 million from Leo. Lamassu pitching in 48 million. That's going to be all from the Hex. And Klaazag here doing 54 million. And that's pretty solid, right? Considering that he doesn't have a damage set. And he's doing just as much as basically this Hex set here. I imagine that his passive is helping him do quite a bit of damage. Similar to like, kind of like a mini hex set, basically. But yeah, the passive is definitely doing a decent amount of damage. I mean, in this case, it's doing about 9% damage. We'll discard this and try again. But yeah, 600 million, not too bad. Full auto, we reached the 1,000 turn limit. That's probably going to be the limit. That's probably going to be roughly what this team can do full auto, I would imagine. It's a pretty tanky team. It has unkillable and stuff like that. So it should be pretty consistent about 600 here. I'd be surprised if it's much more. 670. Now that's pretty strong. That's consistently much better. Marius 280 here. Leo 250. Lamassu is pitching in 64. That's from the hex damage. And then Klaazag here pitching in 66. And that's going to be probably from his passive. Lady Mikage here with 5.4 and Elva with 3.8. Like, this is pretty solid in my opinion. Yeah, we got the 6-star crushing red damage dealers and just one reviver on full auto, and without ways to properly deal with the head of torment or the head of decay. So you're getting feared and you're getting cleansed off all the time. So there's this team can obviously be improved to be more consistent, but very solid. And obviously Klaazag's performance is very good here. Being Void Affinity is very useful as well, so he doesn't actually weak hit against other bosses. So we checked him out in Hydra. He's actually a huge stud there, obviously able to quarterback some teams. You can build a lot of teams around him. Now we're going to go into Chimera. And for Chimera, he's definitely getting a lot of hype. And I think he's going to be a good champion here as well. Maybe one of the most insane champions here, perhaps. So this is one of the teams I got for him. We'll talk about Titus teams after. Because I think for Titus, he's not going to be as easy a direct replacement for Lydia as we think. And that's just basically the team construction part of it. I think his kit can very much replace Lydia. It's kind of an upgraded Lydia in a lot of spots against Chimera. But there's one big thing that he cannot do that Lydia does. that the Wixwell teams and Titus teams really need. But for this team, it gives a little bit more flexibility. So here we got Necmo with increased speed, decreased speed, leech, decreased attack. We have Klaazag here with all the debuffs, bringing decreased resistance is really big, and the fear is really big as well. And then we have the Reviver with the cleanse. She also brings increased speed as well. And then a Ninja here for the damage. And then Mikage here for the increased attack, crit damage, ally attack, and for damage. So anyways, we'll run this a little bit and I'll show you guys just exactly what we're talking about. Klaazag also brings the counterattack, which is really good. And then he also brings Unkillable, which can help against the ram head as well as the lion head to some extent. So really, really nice here. Decrease resistance, again, decrease accuracy, really good. Still, our team's not like built up for you know, a lot of resistance, so we're gonna get stripped off there, unfortunately. But we'll play this through a little bit, and yeah, we'll see you guys at the ram head, and then we'll talk a little bit more over there. Okay, so we're up against the ram head. We had Necmo get targeted and killed off by the ram when the ram took a turn. Now we get a chance to place the unkillable and the counterattack, which is going to be pretty cool. If Klaazag counterattacks, he will place the True Fear on the ram, which is one of his big sell points here from his A1. So let's put it on. And then, yeah, we'll go increase speed. We're going to get hit. And there we go. We got the True Fear landed on. Real nice here. Everybody's going in with the A1s. Super, super nice here. We got Ninja. We got HP burning. Okay, A1 again. The Fear back on. That's real nice. And then we can ally attack in as well. Don't have the plus accuracy. There we go. We got the two trials there. Let's land decrease defense, weaken, and all the debuffs. Really nice. Slam again. Oh no, he's dying. Revive. Yeah, so that's always going to be a little problem, right? Because then once Ninja A1s and then he dies off, feels pretty bad. And we got the Fear, A1 Fear, that's huge. Back in, we need to pick up Ninja here. Nice. You can actually do the increased accuracy or the accuracy trial if you transform Mikage before the ram head and then place the increased accuracy. That's one way to do it. Let's go for the A1 here. We'll wait for the unkillable with Ninja. Oh, okay, I don't think we're going to get a chance to do that. We're close to anything here. We got the debuffs, buffs. Uh, 5. Is this enough? 2 more. Got 2 buffs. Yes. Oh, there we go. We got it. Yep, we got that one. So, do we dare ally attack? Increase accuracy can't do. Dual bar. And then we can't do either one of these. So, all right. So we got 4 trials from that, RAM form. Is actually pretty strong. It's actually pretty good. And although it looked pretty messy, like honestly, this is like my first run doing Chimera, it wasn't too bad. The fact that he can 100% land the True Fear is really, really good for him. Let's head to the Lion form and see how well he does over there. All right, so we jumped into the Lion form here. Let's see how well we can do against the Lion form. So for Klaazag, he can provide some 2 unique buffs here, the unkillable and counterattack buffs, which is really good. We do have the leech debuff from Necmo, so we'll be able to handle this trial. But then the other thing is the decreased resistance trial for this is actually, capable to be done by Klaazag as well. Very hard to get decreased resistance, so that opens up this this hard trial, which is actually really difficult. This pain link reflect damage one, so no way for us to finish this on this team. but we'll be able to finish this one with the decreased resistance. This one we can finish, obviously, with decreased defense with Klaazag as well. And then the counter attacks on this one is actually doable as well with Klaazag. Obviously, we have Lady Mikage here to help as well, but Klaazag also helps here as well. And then this one, we could, if we can get to this hard trial, we can definitely attempt that with Klaazag. But we have to go through with this. And this team does not have shield, so it's not going to be very helpful. But if we did have a team with shields, then we can try to attempt that hard one. But anyways, let's do a quick playthrough here against the Lionhead and see how well it performs. We can't transfer the gaze back. We just tried, obviously try to, but we can't do that. So let's land some debuffs here. Go land a bunch of debuffs. Land the slow speed. Here's the other big thing that I noticed is that this type of team, or the comparison between Klaazag and Lydia, is that Lydia brings block buffs, which is actually pretty useful to stop the decrease speed buff from the ultimate form. So this case, this team doesn't have it and doesn't have a way to remove it, which means they're gonna have increased speed, which is a bit of a pain, right? So it looks like we finished this relatively quickly here. We finished this the easy trial and the normal trial pretty quickly, decreased speed and decreased defense, and then we're on to the counterattack ally attack, which we're set up for already. And we're also going to be able to do this decreased resistance trial as well. So that's really, really nice. And yeah, we're able to have unkillable up and block all this incoming damage, which is really nice. Get the A1 in there, boom, and then we got the ally attack going in. Lots of damage going in. And I think we're pretty... Oh, we just finished the ally attack. Basically, instantly place 10 debuffs. So we need 2 more debuffs. Is it... Where is our other debuffs? Let me see. We can't transfer that, of course. Do we have any other debuffs? Are we stuck? We don't have any other debuffs? Neck mode, HP burn. Here we go. Oh no, are we stuck? That's it, eh? 2, 4, 6, 8. So I guess, oh, we needed brimstone. Do we have brimstone, anybody? Oh no, we don't have brimstone. Yeah, we needed brimstone to get that 10. Oh, that kind of sucks. Actually, no. We only have 9 total. Okay, so on a slightly different team, you could probably attempt to do this one, this decreased resistance one, but we don't have enough debuffs to land on this team in particular. A little bit of a shame, but we could definitely form up a different team. This is just kind of like a first overall attempt. Counterattack unkillable. Yeah, we're doing a good amount of damage now. But anyways, we'll take a look at the Viper form and see how well he performs over there. All right, so we're entering the Viper form here. So this is going to be really interesting because Klaazag can actually A1 transfer all of the poisons back, which is really, really cool. So in this case, let's try and navigate this so we don't necessarily need Elva to cleanse off all this stuff, but we do need, for example, we need Klaazag to go in with the debuffs first. Let's see how we can do this. Oh, ally attack, that could work. Yeah, let's ally attack in so we can send back the debuffs. The boom, look at these debuffs, guys, real nice. But it does block some of his other abilities here. So what does he need? We need block active skill debuff, only counts damage from skills. Unfortunately, we don't have block active skill. So this is something else that Lydia has over Klaazag for this type of team. Now, for a Titus team, for example, I believe Titus has block active skills. So you can kind of get away with it without Lydia, but here you don't have the block active skills. So it's a little bit of a pain here. So we can't actually get through this one. And I guess this one would be a hard stop as well. We don't have the we do have the HP burn. So unfortunately, we don't have the block active skills. Just something to really keep in mind, guys, when you guys are constructing the teams that have all these debuffs. In this case, maybe we can go through the middle, but this is going to be really hard. Decrease attack, increase speed. We can probably do this one, and then we can probably do this one, and then we can probably do this one. Maybe, maybe. Nope, we can't because we don't have increased resistance. So probably not the best here as well. Quite a bit of debuffs going on here. Okay, coming back in with the ally attack. So what do we do here? We finished off this one, decrease attack and increase speed. It's a pretty easy one. This one we can probably do as well. Increase attack, block debuffs. And then this poison sensitivity one is kind of going off, but it's going to take multiple rounds of this Viper form for us to finish this. But I think we can probably finish this if we always were able to land the A1. So that's a good thing for Klaazag. He can actually finish off this trial. But it really sucks that we can't, we don't have a team that is capable of doing the block active skills. And then Klaazag could definitely help here with Ninja, and then he can definitely help here as well. But right now for this team, we don't have the block active skills. And now decrease accuracy we do have, but we don't have increased resistance. So a little bit of a bummer here, to be honest. Big bummer here. But yeah, still pretty powerful. I mean, like a super powerful champion here, right? Super powerful champion. If you had like a blessing as well, you probably, I mean, look how many buffs he has for this team. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah, super powerful champion, does handle quite a bit. It's going to be interesting to see some, different team builds for him. But honestly, his kit is capable of handling a lot of these trials that are just not super easy to deal with. Like for example, like this poison sensitivity one could be possible. It could be possible. This 10 debuff one could be possible as well. So yeah, he definitely opens up a couple of trials for everybody. But he's not the end all be all by himself. He definitely still needs a team. And that's the thing with Chimera. You still need a good team to go around for them. All right, so a quick note here about Titus teams. I didn't spend a lot of time like looking at different combinations, but for my roster, I was not able to really come up with a team to put Klaazag in there. Now, the big thing about Klaazag is that he doesn't bring increased speed, and this is basically like the standard, more accessible Titus team. And usually it's Lydia in this spot instead of Klaazag, but here, Lydia actually brings increased speed, which no other champion can bring. Now, the other sub out would probably be Owella or Mikage. So Owella brings increased resistance, and unless your champions are packing, 500 resistance each, it's really hard to get rid of increased resistance. She also brings decreased speed. So if you need to remove Owella, you need to bring a champion in with increased speed and decreased speed to make Klaazag work. And it's possible, you could. And it really depends on how much gear you have on your champions. You need crazy stats. The other champion you can remove is Lady Mikage. Now, Lady Mikage brings a bunch of other benefits as well. Obviously, an extender, and then increase a crit damage here as well with the ally attack to handle some of the trials. The big thing with removing Owella is that you need another champion with an extension. So it's not that easy to find a champion with a buff extension plus increased speed and decreased speed. Like finding buff extenders in general is just difficult. If you look at here, I don't really have too much on my entire roster. Yeah, there's just not too many. And you need one with decreased speed. I mean, maybe Panda works. Panda does have decreased speed. It is conditional, and he does have a 4-turn duration increase, which is possible. I mean, you could make it work, but it's not ideal. He also brings increased accuracy as well, which could be useful. He's the only one that I really thought of that maybe could work in this spot. But yeah, you need increased speed and decreased speed and an extension. If you don't have an extension, then you'll probably need to run Titus slow and then probably lose quite a bit of damage. just to fit Klaazag into this team. It's so much easier just to remove Klaazag and just place Lydia. And also Lydia brings the block active skills, but Titus has block active skills as well. So anyways, just wanted to make a quick note about it, is that he's not a direct slot in replacement for Lydia. You still have to, juggle your team around him to make it work. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what people come up with, but on first look, his kit looks amazing, of course. Lots of stuff going on. Lots and lots of potential. This ability is amazing. This A1 makes Chimera, the Ram form, much easier than RNG with Lydia. And of course, this is just massive value. He also brings a lot of value here with his passive as well. But he's not a nuker per se, but he's definitely an insane support champion that can pitch in some damage, especially from his passive. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this showcase. Hopefully it just showed you guys a little bit about Klaazag and how to use him, what he's good at, what he's not so good at, and where he can be slotted in and have some potential to shine. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Klaazag. Do you guys have him? How do you guys use him? Would love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching until the end, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.